I came to Greece without a long list of places I wanted to see. In fact, I came here for the opposite reason. After an extreme busy and stressful period, I felt the need to slow down. I didn't want to rush from one attraction to another or spend my days trying to tick off highlights. What I needed most was to rest, swim, sleep, read, and repeat. When I arrived at the studio apartment that I've rented, it wasn't exactly how I had imagined it, and I felt quite overwhelmed at first. But after a day of settling in and cleaning it up, it started to feel better. And in the end, I actually grew to like it a lot, especially those gorgeous red flowers that greeted me every morning. After seeing the area where I was staying, I felt kind of excited to go explore the next day. I was very tired, and so I took an early sleep in the air conditioning. The next day, I decided to go to the beach and see the island for myself. Most of my days looked surprisingly similar. Waking up, finding a spot by the sea, swimming, reading, filming, eating, and then doing it all over again the next day. Some people might call that boring. Interesting. The boredom luxury in the old days, we were bored at the bus stop or waiting in line at the grocery store. Nowadays, we fill every gap with a screen, making sure no boredom can enter into our lives without realizing this. Boredom is actually the state where true creativity begins. Say that again. Boredom is the state where true creativity begins. Neuroscience supports this idea. When you're generally bored, your brain shifts into what's called the default mode network. This is the mental state linked to daydreaming and mind wandering, where your mind starts linking ideas that normally wouldn't connect, often leading to fresh and original thinking. In contrast, constant stimulation from phones and other devices tends to block this mental empty space. But when you allow yourself moments of quiet, creativity can naturally emerge. Here are some ways to tap into this state. 1. Embrace boring activities. Doing repetitive, low stimulation tasks like going for a walk without music, folding clothes, or casually doodling gives your mind space to drift and form new ideas. 2. Reduce distractions. Put your phone in another room or avoid screens while doing everyday tasks, so your attention isn't constantly pulled away. 3. Let your mind wander. Don't try to control your thoughts. Just observe them as they come and go. Over time, your brain will naturally start combining ideas in new and unexpected ways. Doing these things often will make quite an impact. You'll be shocked at what your brain offers you when you finally stop shouting at it with data. But I think we've become so used to constantly doing, achieving, and chasing new experiences that we've forgotten the value of simply being and being bored. Becoming bored is a luxury nowadays. One day I spent time in the town. I liked Rhodes because it was very easy to get there from Rome. And honestly, all I wanted to do was to relax and spend a few days swimming in that gorgeous sea and read and relax. But compared to Siros, where I was last summer with my mom, it has a very different vibe. Obviously, two very different places. I feel like Siros was a little piece of heaven, incredibly beautiful, peaceful, and I found it more authentic. Rhodes, especially in summer, is much more busy and energetic. But if you're willing to wander away from the crowds, you are still able to find quiet corners and beautiful beaches and, yeah, some calm. Even though it can be busy with tourists, I found that if you just turn into these side streets, the atmosphere changes completely. The noise slowly fades, and you're left with small details instead: light on stone walls, quiet doorways, and laundry hanging above narrow streets. You'll be surprised what you can find. In the end, I did find some of those spots, but I do feel like a car is necessary there, because public transport is not super great. Yes, there are a lot of buses, but funny enough, in Siros, which is a much more tiny island, I felt the bus system was way more organized. Very, did not expect that. Down by the port, life feels very different again. Boats are gently moving with the water, and fishermen going about their day, and fish gathering near the surface. There's something so calming about watching a place where life still follows the rhythm of the sea. As you know, I have a strong fascination for the sea. And then there were the cats. Everywhere I went, I seemed to find them, resting in the shade, walking slowly through the streets, completely unbothered by anything around them. I found that even though a lot of them looked like they were sleeping, I was always checking to see if they were really alive. Kinda sad, but it's reality. I met one cat in particular that I honestly wanted to take home with me. Even the small everyday moments stayed with me. I discovered something in the local supermarket that looked like the Dutch hagelslag, those chocolate sprinkles we eat on bread, and tahini heaven with a galore of choices of tahini, even a kind where chocolate was added. Ordinary things like these somehow always makes me happy. I bought fruit there, and the clerk helped me with the weighing of the produce, and he knew all the codes of all the vegetables and fruits. I noticed this and told him in English, like, wow, you know all these codes by heart? And instantly he was smiling and looked very proud. Again, moments like these to remember. It's strange how these small encounters become the things that you will remember the most of your travels. And that is exactly what this trip reminded me of. One of my favorite things about traveling is looking for hidden spots that not everyone discovered. While many people are drawn to the main busy beaches and crowded streets where mediocre souvenirs are being sold, I always seem to wander towards the edges. Those are the places where I feel most happy. I also love traveling with my camera. Filming helps me to slow down and pay attention. It makes me notice details I might otherwise miss. The colors of the sea, the changing light, the movement of water. Filming in public forces you to slow down and shift from an active traveler to a patient observer. You trade rushing for the decisive moment, waiting for the perfect interaction of light, subject, and event. And this deliberate pace turns chaotic public spaces into this controlled creative canvas. For me, filming isn't about capturing everything. It's about capturing a feeling, as you know if you have been watching my videos. And the Greek islands are one of those places that always gives me that feeling. The people are incredibly kind, the food is fresh, simple and delicious, and life seems to move at a much gentler pace than anywhere else. There is an ease to everyday life here that I really appreciate. I remember I was panicking about my phone because I couldn't find it, and a man told me, "Relax, you're in Greece, life is good." And 1 minute after, I found my phone. It was hiding all of this time in my front pocket. But this phrase, "relax, you're in Greece," has become more or less my mantra every time I step foot on Greek soil. This wasn't a trip filled with big adventures or endless sightseeing, no. But that was exactly the point of coming here. Thank you so much for having watched this video. I hope you liked it, and hope to see you in the next one. Ci sentiamo. Ciao!